Hi everyone. There is a Zen proverb that I like a lot that says, the obstacles on the path are the path. The obstacles on the path are the path. And another similar saying from a very wise man or woman is that whatever suffering we have in our life, it is not a mistake, it is not a problem. It is a way in which God or Creator or nature shows us where we are stuck. So these two quotes are relevant to what I'm about to do. I'm going to do a 7-week group immersion on the topic or with the title of Investigate the Situation, Wake Up Before You Die. Investigate the situation, wake up before you die. And this is prompted by actually realizing more and more how our time is limited here, and also working in one-on-one work with people for whom it's really obvious they are in the more final stages of life and they are dealing with some terminal illness, and all the illusion of life and all the pursuing and stuff and avoiding stuff, it starts to collapse, and then they are faced with like, hey man, what do I want? How do I want to live my life in the little time I have left? But I thought to use this kind of type of fire under our spiritual ass and to not wait until we have such a terminal illness in order to have this approach. So my plan with this 7-week group immersion that will start on the 29th of May will be Wednesday, every Wednesday for 7 weeks from 6 to 8:30 Pacific time, will be both in person as well as online. And the idea is that I would like to invite everybody that comes there, and even in the first meeting, to identify what is an area in our life that creates suffering, some domain from our many realms. You know, we have relationships, we have romantic relationships, we have work, we have addictions, we have anxiety, we have depression, we have a sense that there's something wrong with me, I'm unworthy, or I'm losing it, I'm triggered and I'm losing it with my kids, and then I have regret and shame, or I have this awesome idea to do an amazing project, but I keep sabotaging myself and undermining it, or just dealing with some kind of pesky addiction that I can't shake it off, and I try all kind of stuff. I try 12-step, I try sobriety, I try things, but it keeps shifting and I'm going back into it. Or some kind of relational pattern, you know, it's feeling disconnected in my relationship, although I feel I love her, but we are disconnected, I'm guarded, it's hard to be real, there's no juice in my relationship anymore, or some other recurring suffering. And if you're honest with yourself, you will see that the type of suffering we have is not endless. It comes in some kind of ice cream variation. There are a few flavors, and they keep recycling and repeating in our life over and over, yeah? Because it shows us where we are stuck in some way. So this group immersion, my plan is to start from the beginning with this, whatever your situation is, whatever it is, and to hone into it, and for 7 consecutive weeks to bring the best tools and the best knowledge that I have, the best methodology I have to tackle this, with the aim of investigating it, loosening it up, finding out what is it made of, unpacking it, seeing through the illusion of it, doing some type of work in order for that situation to change considerably in 7 weeks. Now, realistically, if you have a lifelong pattern, it's very unlikely that it's going to go away in 7 weeks, but at least you'll get a handle of it and you learn how to help yourself. My aim here is not so much to do it for you, not to catch fish for you, but to help you become a good fisherman So you start to have better tools, better understanding on a skillful working on yourself. So what does it mean by this, to skillfully tackle our suffering? Yeah, whatever that is, some deficiency story, some getting dysregulated when somebody says something, or whatever the pattern of suffering is. To skillfully tackle it, it is hard because nobody taught us, in school, and our parents, they were not usually skillfully tackling their problems, and very likely we inherited some of their problems. And well, I guess to understand that would be to realize the ways in which we are not skillful in tackling our suffering. So one way we do that is that we avoid it. We are just avoiding it. When that feeling comes or that trigger comes, we are distracting ourselves with TV, with chocolate, with going out with friends, with alcohol, with beer, with weed, drugs, whatever, porn, Netflix. So the thing comes and I'm avoiding it and I'm escaping it. Yeah, that just delays and perpetuates the problem and adds more problem onto the situation, because now we have this idea that, man, look at me, I'm doing this addiction again, I feel shame, I'm unworthy, or somehow we do know deep inside it, this doesn't work. This running away from it just postpones it. Another way we don't handle our obstacle properly is that we are like wallowing in it. Basically, that's the opposite of escaping it, but it's kind of the same. We are wallowing in it, meaning that all day, every day, I have thoughts about it, and the mind is trying to figure out a way out, or the mind is beating ourselves up and is complaining. Is like, man, you're never going to do this, and look at you, and judging, self-blame, self-deprecation, self-pity. And then we are constantly in this washing machine of thoughts and feelings about the situation while resisting the situation. And also, it's not because we are bad, we just don't know what to do with it, So having this situation, that suffering, we are wrapped around it somehow, and we are in a washing machine, yeah? Another way we do that. Now, another way that it's unskillful to deal with our suffering is, maybe this is for more sophisticated practitioners or truth seekers, is that we are just meditating. Yeah, we are meditating, or we are doing breath work, or we are doing Wim Hof, or we are doing positive affirmation, or we are doing nervous system regulation. We are doing something which is good and comes from a higher teaching or higher spiritual tradition, or Buddhism, or some kind of psychotherapeutical modality, or Louise Hay positive affirmation or something. We do that somehow, that makes it temporarily better. If you meditate and you are serious about it, it's going to be kind of more peaceful. Or if I do positive affirmation, or if I do breath work and various things, kind of running and various things, that the energy will be more temporarily balanced, but it doesn't tackle that situation. So it's almost like we put a veneer of peace and okayness and well-being on top of uninvestigated skeletons in the basement that are kind of shaking the house. Yeah. Meditation, although meditation and awareness practices and having this type of self-love, it is a good thing, by itself is inadequate. It's totally insufficient to tackle deep suffering, which is connected to our subconscious. So what I propose, and what I found out working with myself for many, many years, as well as having a lot of group work for over 30 years and working one-on-one for about 10 years with people, is that it's necessary to combine various methods that by themselves are good, but they are not enough. So since my group work, or my method, which is called Circle of Being, Somatic Shadow Work. So this implies circle of being. Being, so these are awareness practices, mindfulness, becoming more able to witness thoughts, to witness emotions without getting lost in them, to stay as the observer, to have this quality of more ongoingly being present. I'm present to this without trying to avoid it, without trying to change it. I'm not resisting it. I'm just, okay, man, yes, I feel like shit. Okay, I just want to feel this. I want to be with this, witnessing it without getting into it. Yeah. So this type of stuff, these are awareness practices which are very useful because it removes us from the situation without rejecting the situation. Yeah. This is important because Einstein said you cannot solve the problem at the level of the problem. So we need to access this deeper quality of our true nature, this quality of witnessing presence. So we are going to learn all kind of practices to get more aware of it and have a little bit of distancing. These practices too help to bring awareness to the actual feeling and the sensation in the body and to not avoid it anymore, not to resist it. Because you know, what happens, and usually most people don't know, whenever I have a situation, some type of suffering or some trigger or something, I have that actual situation, which is unpleasant, and then I have some unconscious, subconscious being afraid of that and not wanting to feel that, which compounds the situation. You know, I have anxiety and fear of anxiety. I have these thoughts that I'm alone in the world or I'm never going to have a good relationship, and then we have fear of it and resisting it. So these awareness-based practices are going to slow the process down and help us to observe more scientifically without trying to change what's happening. Now, this is good. This creates the right environment for deeper work, but in itself it's not enough. So as my name says, circle of being, somatic shadow work. So what's necessary also, once we have this more awareness and a little bit more detachment in a certain way, then we need to kind of skillfully get into it and unpack it. That suffering is some type of zip-locked file that we barely know. We just have the folder name and we resist it. But that particular recurring suffering is very much a product of some childhood wounding, some trauma or some developmental trauma, of some type of inability to be with emotions and kind of lost and identified with pain body thoughts. And also that situation is also very likely, that's more like the fruits of something deeper. Yeah. And in order to really make a change in that, we can't just put a veneer of peace on top of it or just deal with the fruits. We want to go to the roots of it. And so this is what I call psychosomatic inquiry or somatic psychotherapy or shadow work or processing. Yeah, processing. So that's what I want to do, to have a mixture of awareness practices and aware of processing as well, some type of processing, and as well as this idea of, a group is really wonderful. Initially, some of you will be like, whoa, man, I don't want to go there and bare my soul. I don't trust those people and this or that. But I promise you, I know most of those people that are going to come. They are wonderful, genuine people. And what's really happening, we really long deep down to be seen, to be met, to be felt. And actually, usually it's not safe because people want to solve us, to tell us what to do and not to do, they judge us. But the container I'm building, it's going to be a very safe, sweet, loving, compassionate, playful container where you will see very soon, you will feel comfortable, and then you will see how people are sharing. Also, you will see that you know, you will see that you thought, man, oh, I'm terminally unique. I have this shit that nobody else has. There's something wrong with me. But as you hear other people, you will see them. They are, man, these are nice people, and they have kind of the same problem or a slight variation of the other problem. And by being open-heartedly present to each other and also overcoming this initial like, I'm afraid they're going to judge me or this or that, that's going to be really very productive for healing, you know. This idea of a tribe. We are not meant to just be alone or be with my spouse. And most of you, you're not real with the spouse. You're not sharing all of these things. So we are alone with this situation. It's really healing, and this principle of collective witnessing. You know, even trauma. You know, it's good to work one-on-one, but this collective witnessing of trauma or of this strategic pattern of adaptation, emotional repression, these different ways in which we can't be authentic. So being in a small group like that. Also, I will offer some homework. I will do some kind of awareness practices. I will do some guided practices, guided processing, sharing, games, various things. Also, as the situation loosens up, because we'll tackle it for 7 weeks, so we'll go increasingly deeper. It's almost like a scientist unpacking this thing. And then we'll see what are the roots of them. And then we are going to have each week various other processes to loosen it up and to learn how to be with it in a better way. Because if we can be more awake to the situation, more conscious to the situation, and we are not avoiding the situation and not avoiding the feeling and facing the thought and going to the seeing what's the origin of that and all of these things, these skeletons, they don't have much power. That which is aware, you know, the true inner nature, the authentic self, is much more powerful. And with a little bit of guidance and a little bit of like welcoming, compassionate, non-judgmental container, you can totally make a big dent in this problem. Then afterwards you can go on by yourself, or you can work with someone else, or you can continue doing group work with me somewhere else, or whatever. But yeah, so join me, and starts Wednesday, 29th of May, 6 to 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. We'll be here in my little den in Nevada City, as well as online, and it's affordable, and hope to see you soon. All right, thank you. Also, if you are working with me, let's say, or you worked with me before, and you know what I'm doing, yeah? So that will be a good way for you to have like a upgrade, a little tune-up, a little booster. Also, there are some of you who are working with me in the fourth way, a non-dual arena, where we are trying to engage in this awakening and this lofty, the path. And in this group that I'm doing now, this investigate the situation, wake up before you die, that will still be very helpful to you, because you know and I know that there is more processing to do, and just talking philosophically and meditating and doing all of this deep work we are doing may not be enough. And it's very useful to also have some time to go into some nitty-gritty processing, yeah? So however, in this group, this 7-week group, I'm not going to go into deep theory, philosophy. It will be more of a marine, tactical approach on our suffering, and it's going to make it better. All right? So join me.